So, first of all, do you or have you ever felt that your minority has held you back as a journalist?
I feel as a journalist, I don't know if it's directly held me back, but it's definitely I think it's faced some obstacles or just kind of like been the elephant in the room. For example, like in the journalism industry, like all you really see is like the white hosts and the white anchors and the reporters. And it starts to become a little discouraging at times because it makes it seem like that's the only people that could be on TV, like that's the type of people that they want. And even when they're talking, when they're referencing classes and everything, journalism in general, like the history and even today, like of course newsrooms are getting more diverse, but it's still just like an outnumbering thing of minorities not on television.
Now, has an athlete or fellow journalist ever treated you differently?
I personally haven't been treated differently. I don't think so as a journalist for my color.
Okay. Do you believe it is tougher to be a non-white journalist compared to being a white journalist?
I for sure think it's tougher because of kind of what I just stated on before, but definitely just because of this the stigma of the blonde hair, blue eyes, that's beauty and that's professional, and that our hair might not be professional or how we look or dress might not be professional enough, and just also because of the resources that aren't available for us, and yeah.
Now, in the US, 65% of the normal workforce employed are white. However, in journalism, it's almost 80%. Why do you believe it is like this?
I believe it's like this just because of in the journalism world, that it's just that it's kind of like a it becomes so prominent like at the very top. It all starts at the top, like the top of the figureheads of the news stations, everything. Those are white, and then as you just trickle down the ladder, they just keep hiring more that people that look like them, and then the only black hosts you really see or used to be NBA players or NFL players, and then but not everybody played in the NBA or NFL, so it kind of gives you like Jalen Rose or Michael Strahan, and then that's why Stephen A. Smith is my favorite journalist because he kind of worked his way up to the top. But even Stephen A. Smith, everybody talks about, oh, what about Stephen A. Smith? He's a black reporter, but he was a journalist for about like 30 years until he really got his name out there. When some of these other white journalists, it was just the road is just a lot easier for them, a lot less obstacles.
Now, sort of an impromptu question. Do you believe, you have to work twice as hard or three times as hard? And if so, how do you do it?
I do believe I have to work twice, even three times as hard, just and not even to get ahead, just to get equal footing. Like we're already two steps behind, and then I feel like I'm just trying to get an equal start with the rest of my associates, and I do that just by working even harder than when people don't even see it. Like for some people, it's kind of just like given to them. Like they walk into a newsroom and people look at them the first even though people don't like to say it, the first thing you see on somebody is usually their color. So they go into an interview, they think, oh, a white male, this would be good for ratings, and then they put it into and then they can easily get that job. But then for me, it's like, oh, he's a black male. I don't know how that's gonna fit, and then I have to have my resume's got to be even more impressive. So that's why I just try to get involved in anything I could do, and then really just try to work on my craft, even when people aren't watching.
Now, like I just said before, almost 80% of the workforce for journalism is white. How do you think some of these numbers can change?
I think these numbers could change just by like me personally. My goal is to work to the top, maybe have my own production company, and I plan on just hiring more minorities and getting a more diverse workroom. I think more people we need to change the spectrum. Like we need to have a more diverse workroom and work environment instead of just these white heavy institutions. And they need to make it more. They need to show more of people that look like us, minorities, in the like in textbooks in class. Talk more about it, and then even just go to more underprivileged communities because most people think that they wouldn't even have a shot in journalism, but some white people like they're raised in these communities that put in this education system that say yes, go to Walter Cronkite, you could do this. Look at these people that look just like you. But then in the urban communities, no one's telling those kids to go to the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. I had to find it on my own. No one was telling me to do that. And then you get really what's it called? You get really discouraged because you see, oh, it's number 5 in journalism. You start seeing all these stats When really, if you get there and they teach you and you can really work, you can do it just like your other associate who's not your color.
Now, at Cronkite or ASU, have you ever felt out of your element because of your nationality or ethnicity?
I wouldn't want to use the term out of my element, but I've definitely felt outnumbered or misplaced sometimes because it's very intimidating sometimes when you walk into a room and you really only see one other person that looks like you. Like in my freshman sports journalism class, I can name the amount of Black people that I have encountered and met that in my class on one hand. And I only really talked to a couple of them because it's really like a dog world. Like you gotta like we have to fight even that much harder, and we try to help each other out because like we're so outnumbered, and it's kind of like a thing coming at you. Certain things that people wouldn't understand, like they would understand.
So, two-part question. Have you ever experienced racism in general before being a journalist? And have you ever experienced it in the journalism world?
I have experienced racism outside of the journalistic world, obviously in my everyday life. Being a Black African American male, it was pretty like I experienced it not every day, but I experienced it my whole life. It's nothing new to me. But in the journalistic world, it's not more like outside of journalism. I probably experienced more blatant racism, like if someone following me around in the store, expecting me to do this or that, and be another statistic. But outside of more like it's more like little comments that people don't even realize they're saying. For example, I go up, I do a little thing on the TV, blah, 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 and then people go, "Oh, Cameron, you're so well spoken." Like people don't even realize how much of a backhanded compliment that is, because it's like, what do you mean I'm well spoken? Do you expect me to just talk like a gangster or a thug, or like, what does that even mean? Or like people just act more surprised when I do something like, wow, like I'm surprised you're able to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why does that surprise you? Like you could do it. Why would you think I wouldn't be able to do it? And then stuff like that, just kind of like they try to knock you, they try to put you on a lower level. But then like I really don't even let it. I just let it boost me up, and I'm like, yeah, like you guys are gonna sleep on me. You guys aren't gonna expect me to do these things. I'm just gonna overcome you while you guys aren't even watching.
Now, has anyone ever stereotyped you and said you should or should not do something?
I would say, do you mean in a journalistic realm or just in life?
Sort of both, I guess.
In life for sure. Stereotype all the time. You should like, oh, Cameron, you should play sports. You should do this. And like, even when I tell people I'm going to ASU, like the first question I get is, oh, you playing football there? Like, oh, you playing basketball there? Like, nah, I'm just a student. But the first thing is like, oh, you're a Black student. You're a Black guy going to this well-known institution. You must be on a football or a sports scholarship. But then, so they try to stereotype me in that way. Or even in journalism, when I tell people I'm a journalist, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a sports journalist. They're like, oh, makes sense. Like, stay to your realm, stay in sports. Like I'm sure that's of course you know about sports, blah blah. Like it's kind of like a not to, but it's like that's not even why. Like I want to do sports journalism, and it's not even just sports journalism. I want to get into like really everything. So it's like they try to stereotype me and put me in a certain box. I'm like, nah.
Now, being an African American male, are you ever afraid to speak your opinion?
No, I'm never afraid to speak my opinion. Really, it's just a little harder when you're kind of alone. Like for example, if I'm in my white class, I'm probably the only like there's many classes where I'm the only Black kid in my class. And then if something happens and I feel unjust about it and I try to speak up, you kind of feel a little more pressure on you because everybody else kind of joins together and they're like, oh no, Cameron's not even like that. And they try to make you feel like you're the crazy minority in the class. But then if there's more of us together, like me and my friends, it's way easier to speak up because then I'm not outnumbered and other people understand where I'm coming from and it's easier to get my point across. But I'm never really afraid to speak up. Like if I feel something's wrong or if I don't like the way someone says something, I'm gonna say something regardless.
Now, do you ever talk to your friends or family about what it is like growing up as an African American male?
All the time, probably about like every day, especially everything going on. It's an everyday conversation. That's really how we connect and relate. Like other people are gonna understand, like truly understand, like the skin color, and that's why my Black African American family and friends, like we're on a different level.
Now, do you believe that curriculum and or classes need to adapt to teach people about racism or just race in general?
I think they do for sure. I think a lot of it is left out, and they try to rewrite history. Kind of, they definitely try to leave out they leave out the bad parts and try to make it seem like, oh, this happened, that made this A happen, B happen, and now boom, we have a diverse America. That's not true at all. Like they need to go. Like they don't even talk about really the struggles that African Americans, everybody had trying to get into journalism and history in general. Like they just try to make it. They just kind of brush over it because it's such an ugly part of our past. But the past is obviously affecting our future. Still facing the repercussions from it today.
Now, do you feel like you've ever had to act whiter or adapt to the American culture in order to fit in?
I definitely feel like they try to get me to assimilate to white American culture, or they've tried to like I'll be doing something they're like, oh, why don't you say it like this? And they kind of use a different like voice, or let's say like a white voice. And I'm like, I really don't want to like. They try to make me like feel uncomfortable by the way I'm already doing it. Like I don't know, like I don't really know how to explain it, but for sure, like the way they want you to dress, like it's kind of like at a point, especially in journalism, it's like they want you to put on like dress up doll, like dress like this, talk like this, and it's not like a person. It's really like it's just a robot or like a figure you have of what a journalist should be. Not journalist they want you to be isn't black. It's a white person.
Now, final question. Have you ever felt like you were in danger?
I haven't felt like I was in danger, no. But do you mean like in journalism or
Just
like
in general.
in general? I felt like I was in danger a few times, maybe with some traffic, like some instances with police officers. The moment, like first thing that run through my mind is, oh my gosh, it's gonna be like, am I gonna become another hashtag? Or even when I'm in certain very white neighborhoods and like a confrontation happens and the way people start to look at me, I'm thinking like, are they gonna try to do something? Or even when I'm really outnumbered with a lot of white people at like Arizona, and like I'm just thinking, and then stuff starts to go down or something, like maybe at a party or something. I'm like, is it like, are they all gonna look at me? They're gonna try to make me the scapegoat, or how's it about to play out?
Well, thank you for your time, Cameron.
All right, for sure.